Alright guys, welcome back to So That's Gaming. This is a video that I've put off long enough. What we're going to do, we're going to take our 3DS here and we're going to install Luma3DS custom firmware on it. Hopefully without any issues. Now this is going to be kind of a long video and there are a lot of steps involved, so if you pay attention to each step and you don't stray or try to do anything crazy, you shouldn't have any issues. But know that I do not take any responsibility. You take full responsibility to anything that happens to your console. If you break your console, I am not liable. Now this process is for the most part relatively safe. Now that's not to say that a break can't happen, it's just that it's very, very uncommon. So what you're gonna need, obviously, your 3DS, an SD card formatted to FAT32. I'm using a 16 gigabyte. I'll change that later on. If you are using a larger than 16 gigabyte SD card, because this is where the OS and all your games backups that you want to install will be put on an SD card, and your 3DS games are going to be quite large, so making sure you have a large enough SD card is definitely a plus. But you'll need a utility like GUI format or Rufus in order to format your 32, 64, 128 gigabyte SD cards to FAT32. It needs to be FAT32. Other than that, you'll need a card reader of some sort so that you're able to read your SD cards in your computer. And well, your charger, make sure that your console's charged, because you don't want your console to lose power during any of these steps, because it could cause a brick. And last but not least, some free time. So just some precautions real quick. What we're going to do, we're going to go into our system settings here and we're going to select internet settings, and then from here we're going to go to the spot pass settings, and then the sending of system information, we're going to disable that so it says no. First things first. Okay, make sure that's disabled. Then we're going to go back and we're going to go back to the home screen. We're going to close this. We have to go to our friends list now. We're going to change the settings there, and while we're there, we're going to get a bit of information. Your friends settings are right here, this little face at the top. Make sure to click that. Now if you don't have a profile created yet, you will need to create one, otherwise this isn't going to work for you, because it relies on a bot exploit. So from here we're going to go to settings and we're going to go to friends notification settings. We're going to say no to let your friends see what you're playing online, which in this case is already disabled, so I just click no on both of them. That way no information gets sent to Nintendo servers whatsoever. While you're here, because you're going to need to anyways, you're going to need on the top screen when you select your profile, you'll need this 12-digit code here. So we're going to take note of that in a spare text document or notepad that I have opened here. Now you won't need any dashes or spaces, so just type it out right. Alright, so now once you have that, we can go ahead and close this. We'll be coming back to it later on. So now on this particular console, we're going to make sure that this exploit will be compatible. So in order to do that, we're going to go ahead and go back to settings. Oops, come on. And then we're going to go to the data management. Okay. And we're going to launch the DSiWare. If this opens up and it doesn't crash, you should be good to go. Okay, so let's go back. Also take note here, this exploit I'm going to be running on the latest version of the system software, which is 11.13. so that's what this console is currently on, and this it's the latest version, and the exploit does work on the system version. So now that we made sure that it's compatible, we have our friend code, we need to get our ID 0 of our console. So what I'm going to do, this hasn't been set up on the DS yet, so I'm going to go ahead and insert this real quick, and what it's going to do is going to create some files. Now if you have an existing SD card, you can get it off of that, but If you're planning on getting a larger SD card, it's just easier, just go ahead and use a whole new card. So now, like I said, insert it and it's creating all the home settings. So that's done. Go ahead and shut down our console here. Okay, and we're going to start getting into some of the fun stuff here. So now that our console is turned off, we're going to remove our SD card and we're going to insert it into our computer. Okay, so on your computer, we're going to navigate to our flash drive, which should have the directory structure. You should see a Nintendo 3DS folder. The next folder is a 32 character long folder name. This is ID 0. So what we're going to do, instead of typing this outright because we don't want any mistakes, we're just going to copy that and we're going to paste that for use later in our open notepad. From here, we're going to go ahead and start the brute force movable. Links are for everything will be in the description. So from here, we're going to paste our ID 0 that we got, and then we're also going to copy the friend code, and then we'll select go. Alright, so now the first step, it shows that you need to add this bot as to your friend list. So back on your console, you gotta get it started back up here. We're gonna go to our friends list and we're gonna register a friend via the internet. There we go. Make sure you're online. Alright, so on the website, we're gonna select this code right here. This is our friend's code that this has been given to us. This is our bot. So in this case, mine is 1135. Yours will likely be different, so don't use this one because it ain't gonna work for you because it's tied to this system. So 2053. All right. Hit OK. And we're just gonna call this bot. Hey, do you want to register bot as a friend? Yes. Bot is now registered as a friend. Now, back on the computer, this is processing. It could take a few minutes, so we'll just have to be patient here. Alright, through this part, what we're waiting for it to extract a movable.sed file from our console. And it does this through the site. And it could take a few minutes. If after a few minutes it hasn't refreshed or completed, go ahead and refresh the page, because sometimes it gets kind of jammed up. Alright, now once the process is complete, you'll have two links. You can do another device, but we're just going to click the download movable.sed, and we're going to save this to a safe location. Alright, once this process is complete and you've downloaded and you saved your movable.sed to a safe location, we're going to go ahead and go to unsafe mode bb3, and this is going to use our movable.sed file that we just previously downloaded, and it's going to generate a zip file for us that has a few files that we are going to need. So once that's done, go ahead and click the download unsafe mode bb3 archive. We'll save it to the same place we had our movable.sed. Extract that from wherever you got it. I'll show you here. I'm just going to extract this to a folder here. Just note that you need to make sure that your left and right shoulder buttons, your D-pad up, and your A buttons work on your console. If any of them don't, you won't be able to continue with this particular method, and you'll have to do a search for a legacy method of installing this custom firmware. So you'll have to download Luma 3DS, and what we're going to do now, after that's downloaded, which I've already downloaded here, let's go and open up these files since we're done with these sites here. So we're going to copy some files to our SD card, and at the same time we're also going to power off our console so that we won't run into any issues. From the unsafe mode -bb3 folder from this archive that we downloaded, we need these two files here. Let's go and put that there, and what we're going to do, we're going to copy these to our Nintendo 3DS folder, our ID 0 number, and the second set of 32 characters is our ID 1. And then here, if you don't have it already, you will need to create a folder called Nintendo DSiWare. Exactly like that. Uppercase N, uppercase D, S, and W. Alright, in this folder we are going to copy our 8-character bin file from our unsafe mode archive and copy it to the DSiWare folder. Next, on the root of our SD card, back to the root of our SD card here, we are going to copy the USM to the root, and then since you should have downloaded the Luma 3DS, here's the latest version. We're going to copy these 2 files to the root of our SD card as well. Go ahead and eject your SD card and we'll put that back into our 3DS. Alright, we're going to power back our 3DS back on here. Alright, now we're going to go back to our settings folder here. Go to Data Management, DSiWare, and select this icon right here, the SD card. There. If the bottom screen flashes red, you're good to go, and after a few seconds it will go ahead and return to the home menu. This means that it was successful. Once it returns to the home menu, we're going to hit power off the device yet once again. Now this is where you have to be able to press all these buttons at the same time. Again, these buttons will be left shoulder, right shoulder, D-pad up, A, and power. Hold those for a few seconds and then you can release them. It should load into a safe mode right here, and it says update your 3DS. We're going to go ahead and set OK to accept, and I accept, and then it just tells you make sure it's plugged in, so because you don't want it to lose power while it's doing this process. And so I'm going to hit OK, and this update will eventually fail with the error code 003-1099. Here's our error code 003-1099. When asked, would you like to configure internet settings, you're going to click yes. Then we're going to navigate to connection 1. We're going to choose change settings. And then we're going to go over to the next page to the proxy settings. We'll select proxy settings. And we'll go to detailed setup. This will trigger it to go into the boot 9 setup. And it says up top says retail unit, greetings from ARM9, or greets from ARM9. Safe hacks complete, B9S install success. Press any key to reboot. So press any key to reboot to the Luma config if it doesn't do it automatically. Now, once you get here, this is the Luma 3DS setup page. We're going to navigate down to where it says show NAND or user string in system settings, hit A. Then we're going to hit start to reboot. After your 3DS is rebooted, we're going to go back to system settings and we're going to go back to data management and DSiWare once again. Running through it again will restore the Wi-Fi settings. So data management, DSiWare, SD card. This time the bottom will show green, letting you know that the Wi-Fi settings have been restored on the console, and it will reboot back to the home menu. Alright, so now we're going to power off our console, and we got to put the SD card back into our computer. Alright, we're going to navigate back to our Nintendo 3DS ID1, ID0 Nintendo DSiWare folder, and we're going to delete the bin file that we copied in there earlier because we no longer need it. Alright, so now we are on the home stretch. Okay, now we just need to download a few programs for our 3DS and place them on the SD card and do some backups and finalize our setup. Download links for all apps will be in the description. I will also include a text document that kind of walks that I've typed out that walks you through each step by step. I'm going to try to remember to get links to all the downloads included in that text document. Alright, so the programs that we're going to download, we are going to download FBI, which is used to install the CIA formatted games and applications. We will need the CIA and the .3dsx files. Anemone 3DS installs custom themes. We'll use the CIA file from that. We're going to install a Checkpoint, which allows you to back up and restore save files for your 3DS and DS games, ones that were previously installed on your console and also from your cartridges. Handy utility. We use the CIA file from that. We're going to install God Mode 9, which is a multi-purpose tool which can do NAND and cartridge functions. Okay, and then we're going to install the Luma3DS updater. It's kind of self-explanatory. It's a simple utility that you can use to update Luma3DS whenever they update the operating system. The Homebrew Launcher Loader, once again self-explanatory. It opens your Homebrew Launcher. We're going to download an app called DSP1, which allows Homebrew apps to have sound. And then a CTR no time offset, which removes the real-time clock offset so that the home menu and the real-time clock timestamps match. So on the root of our SD card, we need to create a couple files or folders, excuse me. First folder we got to create is 3DS, all lowercase. Okay, the second folder we need to create is CIAS. Okay, so I already downloaded all the files we're going to need. So what we're going to do, we're going to copy all of the CIAs that we mentioned before. That's the Anemone, Checkpoint, CTR, oops, not that one, DSP1, FBI, Homebrew Launcher, Luma Updater. Copy all these CIAs, the CIAs from the apps we downloaded, to our CIA folder, and we're going to copy the FBI and the CTR no time offset 3DSX to our 3DS folder. We got to go to our Luma folder, and we are going to create, if it doesn't exist already, a folder called payloads. And from here, we're going to go to our God Mode 9, and we're going to copy the God Mode 9.firm into the payloads folder. And then at the root, we're going to copy the GM9 folder. Alright, so that's about it. Everything we're going to be copying to our SD card. So once again, we're going to eject that and put that back into our 3DS. Okay. Powering our console back on here. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into settings. We're going to go to select other settings, and we're going to go all the way over till we get to system update, and we're going to click OK. Now, updates while using B9S and Luma are safe. If this gives you an error, set your DNS settings to auto. This right here says the system's up to date, so we're good to go. So we go and exit out of we exit the settings menu and go back to the home menu. Eventually, there we go. Okay, so we're gonna select download play, this icon right here. So we're gonna run that. Oop, come on. We're going to run this, and we're going to wait for the two buttons to show up. These buttons right here. Now, once you see these buttons, you have to hit the left shoulder, the D-pad down, and select. This is going to open up the Rosalina menu. From here, we're going to go down and select. We're going to go down to miscellaneous options. Hit A, and we're going to select switch the HB tile to this current app, which is the very first option. Operation succeeded. Now we're going to click B to return, B again, and then B one more time to exit. We're going to hit home, return to the home menu. And we're going to close that. We're going to close download play. Once it's done closing the software, we're going to relaunch download play. What the Rosalina menu did, we made it to where this folder goes to the Homebrew launcher. And when we launch this, it should launch into the Homebrew launcher. There we go. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to run the CTR no time offset here. And once this runs, we're going to set the offset to 0 by selecting A. And it says offset change successfully, reboot is highly recommended. Or hit start to return back to the Homebrew browser. Next we're going to go select FBI. Now remember all those CIAs we copied to our SD card. So the very first option is SD. Then we're going to leave it selected on current directory or hit A again. Oops, I'm sorry, we have to go down to CIAs. Then right here where it says current directory, we'll select that and we'll click the second option, which is install and delete all CIAs. And then we'll hit yes to confirm. This will take just a few moments to copy and install everything. And it's going to remove all the CIA folders once it's done. That way it kind of cleans up for us. Alright, once the operation is done, we're just going to click OK. Go over here, hit start to exit. And hit home to exit download play. Now we have a few new packages installed here. And we're going to go ahead and wrap these. You might consider organizing all this a little bit so that everything's all in the same place. Okay, so now we have our Homebrew launcher right here. Alright, while we're right here, we're going to go ahead and run this DSP. It only needs to be ran once. It's going to go through an audio test. Now once it's done, you can select B, and this will automatically delete the app since you only need to run this one time. And it should automatically delete it. Boom. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and shut down the console, and we're going to launch into God Mode 9, and then we're going to do some additional backups. So let's go and shut down. Alright, once the console's powered off, we're going to hold the start button and power it on. Okay, so if God Mode 9 doesn't launch, don't freak out. We're going to press and hold the power button until your console officially shuts off. And then what we're going to do, we're going to copy a couple additional files, which I'll include in the description. Okay, now that the console's turned off, let's go and return our SD card to our computer. Okay, so we're going to need a couple of folders here. On the root of your SD card, we're going to create a folder called OFI, which I don't think we'll end up using, but we'll just go and do this. It's Open Firmware Installer, and we're going to copy the Fastboot 3DS firm, from Fastboot to the OFI folder. And then from your Open Firm Installer, we're going to go to your Luma folder under payloads. We're going to do the Open Firmware Installer.firm, and we're going to copy that over into the payloads folder. Alright, now that those files are copied over, we're going to return their SD card back to our console. I have experienced a similar issue with my 3DS, and I'm not exactly sure why it does it, but I've noticed if I have another option under my payloads, it will prompt it. And so once again, we're going to hold start and press power. And there we go. That's what we wanted to see. We're going to go and select God Mode 9 and hit A. Now, first thing it's going to tell you is if it should prompt you, essential files backup not found. Create one now. We're going to select yes. Let me see if I can make this a little brighter for you guys for whatever reason. There we are. There we are. We're going to hit A. And then backup. I don't know why the screen's so dark. That's crazy. Let's see. It says backup embedded in the system NAND and write to GM9 out. Yes. So I was going to make the backup there. Now, it might prompt you about your real-time clock date and time. If it prompts you, go ahead and set your date and time. Now we're on this menu right here. So hopefully you can see everything okay. Alright, so we're going to hit the home button. It's going to bring up the actions menu. And then we're going to go down and select scripts. And then we're going to choose GM9 Megascript. And we're going to scroll down till we get to Playlect's Guide here. Scripts from Playlect's Guide. It's almost to the bottom. Now we're going to set up Luma3DS to CTR NAND, which is the very first option. This will copy the Luma3DS to your CTR NAND, allowing you for the system to work without your SD card. Continue? Yes. Right into system NAND level 1 is locked. Unlock it now. We're going to hit A to unlock it. Now to proceed, there's a key sequence on the bottom of mine. It says, let me see here. Okay, so it says right, up, right, left, A. And there you go. It's copied Luma3DS to the system. God, it's so hard to see. I don't know why it was so dark. That's crazy. Okay, so A to continue. So after that, we're going to go to select clean up SD card. Where is it at? Second option. This will clean the final setup files from your SD card. ADS. Our SD card is squeaky clean. Alright, so next we're going to go return to the previous menu. We're going to go to backup options. The very first option here. And then we're going to choose System NAND Backup. And then A to confirm. Now this file is actually over a gig. So mine says it's going to take about 4.5 minutes. So we're going to pause the video here and then we'll meet you when it gets done. Alright, last 4 seconds. Alright, we're going to hit A to continue. Then we're going to hit B to return the main menu. We're going to scroll down to the very bottom option, which is exit. It's going to remind you that your write permissions were changed, relock them, or hit A for yes. And then hit the power button, choose power off system. Alright, hopefully the last time we have to put our SD card into our computer. Okay, I missed a step. So before we go and power it down, go back to the main menu, and at the top you'll see what folder we're currently in. We're going to navigate down to M, which is our virtual memory, and we're going to select we're going to go down to the boot9.bin right here. We're going to select A. Down at the bottom, we're going to select copy to GM9 out, and there you go. It's been copied. Now we'll hit start and go and choose power off system. And return our SD card back to the computer to save our backup files to a safe location. Alright, on our SD card, we're going to navigate to GM9 and then the output folder. There'll be 4 files there. And we're going to create a backup folder here because we're going to keep this in a safe place. Some might recommend you saving these to multiple locations, like, off-site backup, like a cloud storage, in addition to your own computer, because if anything ever happens, you'll need these to help you recover from brick. So we're going to copy all these to a folder. Alright, once that's done, the 2 longer file names, we can go ahead and delete those from our SD card because we will no longer need them. And then we can, for the last time, well, at least for the setup anyways, we can return our SD card to our console for the final time for this setup process. You'll obviously need to return your SD card to your computer if you want to install any of their homebrew applications or anything else like that. You should copy those to your CIA folder and use FBI like we showed you before to install those. So let's go ahead and power it on. Here we are. We're back in our home screen. So we're all good to go. Congratulations, you just finished installing Luma3DS custom firmware on your 3DS. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comment section below. I try to answer them as quickly as I possibly can because I do also work full-time over the road. I do have a couple other videos coming up in the future about the 3DS, about making your own backups of your cartridges using God Mode 9 and then FBI to install them, backing up the corresponding save games on each of those cartridges so that they can be played on your newly installed cartridge games that we convert to CIAs and install them directly onto the system. So no more needing cartridges. Now I will warn you, those are going to be a long process, but anyways, those are all coming up. So thank you guys so much for watching. comment, like, share. If you haven't already done so, be sure and click the subscribe button. And if you want to become part of that notification squad, be sure and click that bell icon so you'll never miss one of my videos. Thanks again for watching. Sorry for the long video. We'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.